Hey, this is DecoyNoise, and today me and you are going to cover another Am I the Antagonist thread that is, am I the antagonist for telling my wife it's not cute for her to encourage our teenage daughter to expect her boyfriend to pay for everything in their relationship? So as always, after we read the story, we take it over to Decoy Court where I judge the case in OP's favor or against OP. I'll read over some top comments, then some controversial comments, then the best comment down below on the video itself gets pinned to the top and earns that ever-coveted Decoy coin that has value at some point. But okay, let's just get to the story. So OP writes, "Wife and I have been married for 18 years. We have our 16-year-old daughter who has been dating a slightly shy/awkward young man for about 3 to 4 months now. He seems very nervous around my daughter and has admitted in a passing comment here and there to my wife and I that he can't believe she agreed to date him and he thinks she's way out of his league. He seems very respectful, just shy. My wife is usually independent, awesome woman, and her ideals align closely with mine, particularly in the term of feminism and equality. We have both striven to raise our daughter to be independent and capable as possible. Since my daughter has been dating this kid, my wife has changed considerably and has given our daughter advice that has left me with raised brows more than once. Some of the advice I've heard from my wife is, oh, it's cute for boys to pay for everything, especially in your first relationship. Or, oh, honey, don't worry about that. He can pay for you. If he really liked you, he would. And similar. I've tried to balance this out by telling my daughter straight away, 2 people in a partnership should be contributing equally. And my personal favorite, if someone asks if they can take you out to dinner, it's reasonable to expect them to pay. But if someone asks you to grab dinner with them, it's reasonable to split the payment. I figured that would be an easy way for a young person to understand the difference. However, I've noticed my daughter becoming more and more entitled with her boyfriend's money. They haven't been anywhere obviously since we're home, but by the way she talks about him, oh, I'll just ask him to pay for X, etc. leaves a bad taste in my mouth. She also flippantly and bragged/mentioned that she gets him to buy gift cards for her by mentioning her mother's advice, i.e., if you really like me, you'd pay for X. I spoke to my wife privately and told her my concerns. She insists it's a rite of passage for girls, and it's cute that she should feel this guy is completely spoiling her. I told her that it's not cute for her to be thinking it's acceptable to view relationships as personal ATMs, and my wife became angry with me and is calling me an antagonist with a lot of hostility. So as always, we take the case directly to Decoy Court, where I'm going to give you my knee-jerk reaction to the situation at hand, which is, okay, I mean, Exhibit A is, yeah, it's cute when you have your first girlfriend and you're trying to be chivalrous and do everything right. Like, I remember being 15 years old and taking a girl to the movies with my mom and, buying her a ticket with money I saved up from doing chores. And, you feel like you're an adult and you're in the real world now. And, when the girl turns around and buys you a gift back, you feel like, wow, I'm amazing. We're in love now, when you don't really know crap. But, there's a line involved, and just the idea that it's like, Exhibit B is, yeah, the boyfriend will buy me this, and if you like me, you'll pay for that. It's like, what a bizarre impression to leave on your daughter to make sure she thinks that she needs to weigh her value by how much money a man will spend on her. Like, what exactly is the lesson being taught here? Like, we put our kids in sports because we want them to know that, like, effort and practice and hard work can equate to success, and even if you lose, it's still okay. You can always play again. You put kids in school so they can learn, critical think, and like take tests to judge their performance, so later on in their future career, hopefully they retain those skills. It's like, now you're teaching your kid that men aren't worth her time until she's financially compensated. Like, I'll let you fill in the blank there. It's like, I don't have children of my own, but I don't think that's a lesson that they should take home right now. So as always, we're only trying to judge OP right here. I'm gonna go ahead and say, you're not the antagonist. Like, I get where the wife is coming from. It's cute to see the kids awkwardly stumble through their first relationship, but, they're super impressionable at that time, and, what happens here is severely going to impact them later on. It's, you really gotta think, like, they're your kids. Stop acting like you're playing Sims 4, where, like, you can mess up their attributes and stats, but you can just high-five your way out of it. Like, that's not how it works. But as always, that's my thoughts. Pause the video, give me your feedback, earn that Decoy coin by giving me something that I haven't thinking about. Maybe there's something else. And then after we read the top comments and the controversial comments, you can maybe change your mind or give me an update, because oftentimes I read some top comments and just change the way I'm thinking about things too. But let's go ahead and read that top comment right now, which is, it's not cute, not the antagonist. Your wife is the antagonist. Your daughter is becoming the antagonist. The boy also needs some guidance, but that probably shouldn't come from you. And edit, read the responses to my comment. There are some good arguments that maybe you should consider talking to the boy yourself. I may have been wrong at that part, but you'll have to decide for yourself. Which I get, like, the idea that the boy probably needs some guidance. Like, you don't want to turn him to this playboy guy where he's just like, nah, you're paying me, or he's gonna have like, you know, a harem of girls now or something. Like, you don't want to turn him into a monster, but just the idea that, you know, this guy probably needs some advice from someone that just kind of seems to have a better grasp of, like, you know, relationships, like the father right here. Like, I think everybody's getting caught up in this weird, like, oh yeah, it's our first relationship, so you should be paying all the time. But let's go ahead and read the next reply. It says, none of us need to comment further, this is enough. And then, okay, so whatever. They're just kind of going off on a different turn. But let's go ahead and read the next reply, which is encouraging her daughter to exploit her boyfriend financially and being a fierce, independent woman whose ideals align with yours on feminism and equality does not compute. Maybe she's not as fierce and independent as you thought. So, I mean, we don't really want to dig at the wife or whatever. You know, the idea that she probably doesn't really believe all this stuff, but just the idea in the context of like her first relationship and all that stuff is just kind of a cute way to see, like, you know your value, know your worth, you go girl type of stuff. Like, it, you know, when it's just buying Taco Bell or getting a movie ticket or, like, you know, buying somebody some off-brand necklace, the stakes are so much lower. Okay, it's hee hee ha ha, but then it would be different if she was like, hey, if he really loved you, he'd buy you a Maserati. Really loved you, he'd put you on the name, or your name on the deed of the house too. Like, that would be the whole, like, oh yeah, she's not as fierce as independent. The whole feminism thing kind of comes into play. But no, this is like very low stakes. I get, like, you know, my argument in the beginning was this is gonna, you know, transfer into her later in life, but it's, you know, you don't want to attack it too hard because this is just low stakes first love type of situation. But let's go ahead and read the next reply, which is, I'm wondering if OP is now realizing that he is in fact a walking ATM to the woman in his life. So this is kind of a bit of a stretch, I think. Like, we don't really know what's going on, but maybe. And the reply to that is, there's also a lack of insight to be had. This very well could be. So, I mean, if OP came back and said, well, you know what, I do pay for everything, and, you know, she doesn't work, or, you know, she does tell me that if I really love my wife, I'll buy her an Amazon gift card for $500. Like, if that's happening, I feel like he would have said it, but he says that before this, none of that happened. So I think that a lot of people are injecting their own, like, personal bias or their own stories of this situation, where OP really didn't say that ever existed before this right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say that probably didn't happen. But let's go ahead and read the next reply, which is, not the antagonist. Ask your wife how she would feel if her dad told her son, if she really liked you, she'd ... You get the idea, which is true. And the next reply to that got lots of awards, a flame emoji, a rocket ship thumbs up, and then 2 guys handshaking. I don't know. So the next reply was, this. OP, you need to state this explicitly to your wife, and not with the internet ellipses that leave any room for doubt. How would you feel if the boyfriend's dad told him that if your daughter really liked him, she'd give him sexual favors or try something else that she's not comfortable with? Because that's the path you're setting on someone by saying that the affection is measurable and transactional. So I don't really agree with the whole thing where it's like, you know, oh yeah, he told her she's got to do X, Y, and Z if she really likes you. The whole measurable thing I don't agree with, but transactional I do agree with. The idea that if he wants to be your boyfriend, a transaction has to occur. It can't just be 2 individuals that like spending time with each other, that are attracted, that just have a blast together. They just want to hang out with each other more. That's what a relationship should be about. Not, hey, look, what can I get out of this? How can I become better after this than I was before? You know, am I worth it? What's my value? Should be just based on whether somebody you dig likes hanging out with you. Wow, I'm so cool, this other cool person likes spending time with me. Not, I'm so cool, this other cool person is willing to work hard at his job and give me that hard work, give me his hours in other ways, like when I'm not around, which is a terrible message here. So let's go ahead and read the next reply, which is, ew, no, not cute. You, sir, are not the antagonist. Your wife and daughter, however, are. Honestly, I'd call a family meeting and sit both of them down and explain how damaging this attitude of entitlement can be, both for her and the boy she's going to exploit. If things don't change, give that poor boyfriend of hers a heads up. If he's a good kid, he doesn't deserve to be used if she doesn't actually care about him beyond his wallet. Which is, you know, that's a little bit of a stretch because we don't know how else the relationship is. Okay, it sounds pretty bad, but I imagine OP's only going to highlight the worst parts of this relationship and not really dig up, oh yeah, they send each other good night text messages every day, and, you know, she helps him with homework, and she really, like, you know, boosts his ego up or something like that. Who knows what else is going on? Like, you know, it's only the wallet is kind of an unfair thing to kind of just jump to. But the idea is, you know, I'm kind of in the same boat where it's really not OP's place to to teach this boy a lesson or whatever. He's got his own family, hopefully, and hopefully he can get that from somewhere else. But I mean, let's go ahead and see the next controversial comment, because top comments are giving us perspective. Let's go ahead and see what controversial is, which is someone saying this smells fake, and I don't like that. I always say that it's like, if we treat every outlandish story as fake, then we never cover anything outlandish. And then if you have an outlandish story that you want us to give you feedback on, no one's ever going to give you legitimate feedback because it's fake, downvote it or whatever, and then hash the / nothing ever happens, the whole thing, like where just people don't believe anything anymore. Let's go ahead and read the next deleted comment, which is not the antagonist. I think your wife is taking your ideas from a particular female subreddit here, and I don't really want to like pile on that. We don't to give somebody good advice, you don't need to pull anybody down. We don't need to say, hey, look, this entire other people, let's attack them. Like, weird tribalism is that, where we can't just take something at face value and talk to them as people. We have to put them in some weird category and say, you all over here, you guys are all wrong. That's what makes you this. So it's like, so if you try to shove them in with some weird label in some weird corner of the internet and they don't feel welcome anywhere else, like in Am I the Antagonist is no longer a neutral grounds, it got too far in one direction, then where else are they going to go other than that particular subreddit, where all they're going to get is just that echo chamber of, you know, I don't want to say bad advice, but just the idea where it's like you only get one side of the story, so you become, you know, really extremely in one way and you just have no way of coming back. It's better to have something like a neutral grounds, like Am I the Antagonist, if we can stop getting torches and pitchforks. That's why I like DecoyNoise. The Decoy Koi pond over here is people that don't always agree but can still have conversations without attacking each other, which is a very rare thing on the internet. But let's go ahead and read the next controversial replies, which is definitely not the antagonist. And then another one is not the antagonist. Your wife is practically pimping out your daughter. I love to see the reverse of the conversation. If you love me, you'll buy X. If you love me, you'll return my generosity with favors. Hey, some girls will take it up the, oh my gosh, we'll do stuff for a cheeseburger. But I hope your wife wants better than that for a daughter, for F's sake. So that's why it's controversial reply, because they can't just take this as like what it is. They're just trying to extrapolate into a giant thing. Like, I managed to say, hey, look, this is going to teach her the wrong lesson without making it, you know, super graphic detail on what could possibly happen in the worst case scenario. I don't like that. So let's go ahead and read the next reply, which is not the antagonist. I assume you've spoken to your daughter alone, just the two of you, so you can give her your thoughts on what an equal relationship is. If not, then definitely do so. As a disclaimer, I'd like to say I'm not trying to tell you how to raise your kid. I just thought I'd share what I would do, which is controversial, whatever. But just the idea that it seems that OP has already told the daughter, like, hey, this is how it should happen, which he's trying to give her the right lesson. But then when he wants to talk to his wife about the situation, like, hey, you may or may not be skewing her view on relationships and what they should value and what I want my kids to value, and she did not take to it well. Like, you're a jerk for saying that. I don't take well to that. Don't tell me how to raise my kids situation. So, you know, he's already gotten past that point. But let's go ahead and read another controversial reply, which is not the antagonist. Way to go for being an awesome feminist and dad. And then so there's people giving all that stuff. Okay, whatever. And the next reply was, I'm going out to eat. I pay my own way, whether it's friends or a date. Okay, so there's really not much more information on here. It's just going to be a lot of people piling on in the same way. But as I always say, let me know in the comments what you think, if I'm right or I'm wrong, if there's a different angle to see this from that we're just not seeing here, because oftentimes we could see it from a someone that is a mother, or someone that did have awkward relationships growing up, or, you know, they don't feel like they got the best out of growing up. So maybe somebody in the comments can give us a different perspective on it, that are afraid to put it on Reddit, or they get downvoted on Reddit and nobody ever sees it. On DecoyNoise, I'll prop you up. Even if you have a controversial opinion that makes a lot of sense, I'll pin you to the top. You get that Decoy coin just because I like seeing people with different inputs or different feedback to the situation that are within the what's appropriate. But as always, if you make it to the end of the video, I want to say thank you for hanging out with me and spending your time, spending your breaks with me. Subscribe down below with the notifications on so you can know that you see all my content that comes up. Go to DecoyNoise.com if you want to apply to become a Discord moderator when I finally make that Discord channel, or give me feedback about the channel overall. But if nothing less, put this on autoplay and watch the next episode of DecoyNoise coming up next.